Video 150, The Ancient Past Lives of Lizzy Bordon, Part 1. Explained here once again by the ancient spirit tralaka, here flowing through the vocal cords of groovyev. Now, this evening, let us together go down the ancient streams, the ancient lives of Lizzy Bordon, Part 1. Let us go in this sharing experience back to an earlier time of the two planets which used to be past the orbit of Pluto, where Pluto is now, but a long time ago there was two planets there where now there's broken up pieces of planets and moons and so forth. It is here where we shall start. Lizzy would have 13 lives. Wow! The first three would be that of a Draco humanoid, standing at an average height of 7 feet 4 inches in those lives. Her skin, a relatively smooth, save but the ridge of more angular, thick scales, which started at her upper forehead with a single row that was wide, which went back to the base of the neck behind her. Her eyes, a smoky brown, yet a certain acid effect, Arctic chill behind them. Cold enough for when she stepped into an area of other beings, even of different species, they could all feel that sudden chill in the airs around them, and many of them would leave the area. Wow! Who turned the temperature down? Let's get out of here. Man, that woman, man, she's freaking us out. But this was normal, that she ran into these situations. And this suited her just fine, because she would have no use for any form of being who could not stand being around her. It was not so much because of her conditions she grew up with, though more for the reason of never developing in the first part of those lives at that location, that of understanding of patience. As Lizzy would grow into adulthood in that first life that we're talking about, she became to be known as quite a public nuisance, a huge public nuisance, make that, to all sides of the political wars between the governing groups, between both of the planets and also upon the moons that were associated there. She was trouble for all of them. Now, she was not a terrorist. Understand, she was not a terrorist, or one of those many groups trying their little coups, trying to overthrow the evil governors. Lizzy and her friends, though, they enjoyed getting their pictures on the news channels, even to the extent she was known to have a fan base of cult followers. Lizzy Bordon had a fan base of cult followers who secretly funded her and her friends with food and supplies needed for more of this venting of that inner anger that yet to come out. Now, this would go on and on for many years, both in her youth and through her adult life. For many years, that was, until this one fateful evening, draped in a pale, well-overused Blablakenstein cloth, normally worn by the lowest class there, servant class citizens, up high over the event stage that evening. Hanged she was off the back side of an overhead catwalk by one leg, which she had tied to a catwalk hand-railing mounting post. Lizzy worked hard and fast to hang up those disguised bags of schnurflies. Now, schnurflies, a local wild animal which is about the size of a very large earth house cat. However, they had 6 legs and matching retractable claws, though the claws were much sharper and nearly 2 inches long. Now, these bags had a remote control lock, which she could activate from almost a half a mile away because she didn't want to be anywhere near the Snurflees when they would fall onto that event stage. Now, this was one of Lizzy's all-time favorites, to watch the pandemonium of the different forms of beings frantically running and screaming quickly this way and that way, falling over each other to get away. For the Snurflees didn't handle very well at all, being taken away from their natural yet dangerous natural habitations on those 2 worlds. But please, here understand, my friends, in these files of stories about the spirit being who on earth would be known as Lizzy Bordon, and the lives she spent on those 2 long gone planets. This is truly a classic case of one's rebellions against their own life stream, a very deliberate self-sabotage, you could say. It was not her intentions to be popular, to be Miss Popularity, so to speak, as this public nuisance, for she was more in the tune of, let's get it over with, just somebody snipe me off so I can go do something else some other life, because this is quite a drag. This was her inner reasoning. Alright, now let me add to that. Though some of this is not recorded as pure facts from the files which have been recovered by my associate spirits, but these are handed down stories received by both Tralaka and his friends from a retired galactic historian who we will talk about very, very in depth on the next few videos. This here is the ancient spirit Tralaka. Good night.